Hi, I'm Caroline Dunn, personal trainer, nutrition coach and yoga teacher, helping you come home to your body. Welcome to this stretch and strengthen session for your lower back. So let's get started. We're going to begin on our mats in child's pose. Child's pose, you might have your knees together or you might send your knees a little bit further apart. From here, start to walk your hands forwards. And hands again can be about mat distance, then let your hips, chest and face sink. Maybe you either rest on your forehead or your chin. If your head doesn't quite reach, you can always build up the hands underneath you and rest your forehead down onto that. We're going to take 3 grounding breaths here. So take a breath in through your nose and a sigh out the mouth. 2 more like that. Breathe in. And sigh out. And breathe in. And sigh out. Then let the breath come back in and out the nose. And just notice the natural rise and fall of your body. And then as you next inhale, come up onto your fingertips. So lift your arms up off the mat, and it's like you're trying to plug your humerus, your arm bones, back into your shoulder sockets. Your fingertips are gripping the mat as though you are dragging them back towards yourself. Nice and active, we should feel maybe our back muscles switch on here. And then as you next exhale, start to walk your hands all the way across to the right hand side. So your right hand shoots off the mat. Place your left hand on top of the right hand and then let your chest sink all the way down. So starting to breathe into a side stretch here. Keep your left hip rooted and breathe all the way from your left hip, your left side body, the ribs, the armpits. And then as you next inhale, come back up onto the fingertips. Start to tippy finger your way all the way around to the left. Take your left hand off the mat wide, right hand comes on top, and then let your chest and your hips sink again. Breathe all through the right hand side of your body. Staying rooted through the right hip, direct that breath from hip, side body to ribs into armpit. And then inhale, come back onto the fingertips, walk your way back through center, and then as you exhale, fold and soften through center for a final time. And then as you next inhale, rock your way forwards and find a tabletop position. So send your hands underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. As you next exhale, lift your belly button strongly up towards your spine. As you take a breath in, extend your right fingertips and your left toes away from each other. Now keep that engagement of your belly button here, lift it up towards the spine. You can pause here or inhale, lift the right fingertips and left toes up off the mat. And try not to think about lifting and how high the arm and the leg go, more about length. Can you create as much length as you can between your fingertips and your toes? Take a breath in, and then exhale, bring everything back down to center. Inhale, left fingertips and right toes move away from each other. Draw the belly button up towards the spine and either pause here or lift your left fingers, your right toes up off the mat. Your next exhale draws everything back underneath you. Okay, flowing from side to side. Strong belly button to spine action. Inhale, right fingertips, left toes. Exhale, come back underneath you. Inhale, left fingertips and right toes. Exhale, move it back underneath you. Inhale. Extend right fingers, left toes. Exhale, back underneath you. And inhale, left fingertips and right toes. And exhale, bring it back underneath you. Soften the belly button, tuck your toes underneath you, and then from here, walk your hips back onto your heels. So come into a little toe tuck position. Now your toes might need a little bit of encouragement just to be tucked underneath. We're not here for long. This can be quite intense a sensation. We're opening up at the backs of the soles and therefore opening up all of our back body. From here, breathe in, lift your hands up towards the sky. Now just notice what your torso is doing. Have you untucked your tailbone and let your ribs move forwards? If you have, then tuck your tailbone down and in, tuck your ribs in. So think like pointing your tail down towards the ground like a sad dog, tuck in the front ribs. As you next exhale, keep that tuck of the ribs as you twist round to your right. Inhale, lift back up through center. Exhale, round to your left. Inhale, back through center. Exhale, twist to your right. Inhale through center. And exhale, twist to your left. Inhale through center. Exhale, release your hands all the way down. Walk your hands forwards and just ease off by tapping the tops of the feet against the mat. Well done, toes. From here, we're going to move to a seated position. So swing your legs around to ground your glutes onto the floor and setting up for a reverse tabletop. So you're going to bring your hands behind your hips. If it feels comfortable on your wrist, then turn your fingertips so that they face your bum. If that's not comfortable, then you can spin your fingertips out to the side or even towards the back of the mat. Set your feet up about hip distance. And then as you take your next exhale, lift your hips off the ground as you extend your knees away from you. Keep a gaze forwards, so don't lift higher than you can keep gazing forwards. Inhale, hips return back to earth. So let's take 5 more of those. Exhale, lift the hips and extend the knees away. Inhale, rock them back down. 4 more. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, 3. Inhale. Exhale, 2. Inhale. And last one, exhale. Inhale. Now as you get a bit more confident with those, and you might start to walk your feet away from you, perhaps even to the point where we have outstretched legs. Last round of reverse plank, either with knees bent or joining me with a straight leg. As you next exhale, then lift your hips, press your feet down as though you were trying to get the balls of your feet and your toes to touch the mat. And inhale, we come all the way back down. Walk your feet back in and send them about a hip distance apart, so mat distance apart, maybe a little bit wider. From here, start to windshield wiper your legs from side to side. So your breath in sends your knees all the way one way and exhale sends them the other way. Let this be quite a fluid movement. Move with your breath. And then the next time your knees come all the way across to the right hand side, pause here. Pick up your left hand, spin around to your right. Maybe pick up the hips a little bit so you're starting to turn towards the back of the mat. Full body twist. And you can pause here. Notice how this feels. This might be enough for you. One option is to then start to walk it down onto your forearms. And wherever you're staying, just tuck your chin slightly in, soften your gaze or close your eyes. One more round of breath here. And then if you came down onto the elbows and walking your way back up onto the hands, start to spin back around to the left, all the way to the top of the mat. Reset the hips, lift the knees to the sky. And then start to send your legs all the way across to the left hand side. Pick up your right hand and start to turn it all the way around. Just better turn to the back of the mat. Again, pause here. Try not to assume you are the same on each side. If this feels okay in the twist, then you might come all the way down onto your forearms. Keep that little tuck of the chin and take some soft breaths here. One more breath. And then working your way back up onto your hands. If you took the folds, then turning and twisting all the way back to the top of the mat and releasing to a seated position. Thank you so much for stretch and strengthening with me today, and I hope to see you here back very, very soon.